Hey. Welcome back, you all, to Mirror Expressions, a channel where I take the time to share a little bit of myself with you all through my thoughts and opinions and perspectives. And I invite y'all to come on in and do the same with me. Happy New Year, Spirit Fingers. I'm glad to see each and every one of you all back with me. I have missed you guys, but we are back at it. So go ahead, hit that thumbs up button, hit subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know how have y'all been? Have y'all been living y'all best life? Like, go ahead, put me a mirror emoji in the chat if all is good with you and you have been looking in that mirror and loving what you see looking back at you. Okay. All right, y'all. Look, we are doing Abbott Elementary. It is back, season 2, episode 11, the Read-A-Thon. Another great episode, in my opinion. As always, Abbott does it. They do it. So they're back from break. We're in the break room. Janine and Gregory, they're acting all weird towards each other. You know, just being awkward because y'all know they had a little moment at the club over the break. And so Barbara and Ava, they're watching from a distance. And so Barbara's like, what's up with them? So Ava ends up spilling the tea to her about how the two of them got a little cozy at the club, talking about, but it was a Disney grind at best. Not a Disney grind. Not able to say these people don't even know how to grind right. They gonna keep their grind PG. So Ava announces to the teachers that it's time for the annual Read-A-Thon, right? And Melissa comes in with the winner's belt, the little championship belt. Y'all know how you see like in the wrestling. And she got it slung all over her shoulder. And she just gloating about how she's her second grade is the 2-time winner. And here goes Janine talking about who wants to wear a big belt anyway. Meanwhile, the camera is panning down to this big belt she got sitting on her waist. It's shady moments like this that I live for when it comes to this show. But anyway, Janine, of course, y'all can already imagine she wants to challenge Melissa that no, her second grade class is going to win and there ain't nothing you can do about it. And against Barbara's advice, she's just like, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. We find out that Jacob is starting like this after school podcast club, right? With Gregory. And I hesitate with it because it seems an all Jacob thing. Like it was just Jacob, but Gregory decided to come on board so that he could supplement his income, because as he says, his romantic life needs it. So there was a sign-up sheet like on the board out in the hallway, and so Jacob is checking the sign-up sheet and he gets, y'all know how he gets so excited. So he gets excited when he sees that 2 students have signed up already. And I mean, you would have thought he was a kid in a candy store, but y'all know Jacob. So, but anyway, Janine is on her mission to beat Melissa's class in this Read-A-Thon, right? So Melissa and Janine end up running into each other in a hallway. And so Janine is pushing this cart that's full of books, like coming from the library with this cart, and it's just piled full of books, right? So Melissa kind of chides her, and she's just like, it's gonna take more than that to be my second graders. And so Janine, who cannot keep her mouth closed, she tells Melissa her plan on how she's going to beat her. I'm just like, oh, Janine, learn how to move in silence, boo. Learn how to move in silence. So the plan includes like rearranging the daily schedule, like their math for the week. She's rearranged for them to get it in on the following week. She's rearranged the classroom to like this reading oasis where they have like pillows and hanging seating and quiet music in the background. Yeah, that doggone Janine. I'm just like, girl, you gotta be quiet sometimes. You can't let everybody know what you're doing. So anyway, and sure enough, just because Melissa now know what Janine's up to, Melissa goes straight to her classroom and she starts amping things up with her student, like constantly putting it into them. We gotta win. She telling like her 3 strongest students, y'all got this. I need y'all to do whatever you can, whenever you can, however you can. You know what I'm saying? So after school, we see Gregory and Jacob, and they're working with the 2 students that signed up for the podcast podcast club, right? So Jacob, he's like going off on a tangent like he usually does about podcasts, how it was invented, and da 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 da. So he's talking like from like not their era, you know what I'm saying? So they're not able to relate to the things he's talking about. And so they're just looking at him like, what the heck are you talking about? So they start discussing the podcast when Ava sticks her head in and makes a comment about, be careful because the equipment isn't cheap. You know, can't just know anybody start a podcast. And she walks out and starts naming all these podcasts that she has. Y'all know that doggone Ava. She gonna be into something if she's not into anything else. And then, y'all, one of her podcasts was a ASMR channel, which she said got taken down. And she makes her noises. I said, oh. No wonder it got taken down. That Ava is something else, y'all. Oh my goodness. Anyway, so Melissa, she ends up losing her 3 top students to pink eye. No, well, not top students, but top readers to pink eye. So they got the pink eye because one was reading, start her, and then pass the book on to the next one, you know. So they just swapping germs at this point. And so Janine just happened to be there when the school nurse came and told Melissa. So, you know, Janine is rubbing it in. She's like, I'm sorry they sick, but you know, this is good for me, you know what I'm saying? Because she see, you know, it's her chance to get one up on Melissa or whatever. So they end up making this little sideways of Melissa and Janine. And at first, Melissa was just like, well, the loser has the streak at the 76ers game. At the Sixers game. And like, Melissa, why, baby? Why? So Janine comes up with, well, the loser has to go to the to be a guest on Jacob's and Gregory's podcast. So that's ultimately what they settled on, doing the podcast or whatever. Jacob and Gregory, they're with the podcast team. They're about to record their first show. Ava slips in because she said she just want to be nosy or whatever. And so Jacob starts off the podcast in his little podcast voice, sounding all so serious and da-da-da-da-da. He sounded so boring, very boring. He really did. And meanwhile, Ava, she all in the background like he just totally putting her to sleep or whatever. Ava's so dramatic. I love her though. So when Jacob, they're still recording, right? So Jacob turns over the show to the 2 kids. So they immediately go into gossiping. Like there was their banter. Like they want to talk about what go down in the cafeteria lunchroom. They looking at the girls. No, if you ain't talking about yada, yada, yada. And so they end up kind of get into a little argument. And so Jacob wants to shut the show down. Like, no, 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 no. Cause he was just like, that's not the kind of show we try to have or whatever. But Ava was feeling the energy, because it was very entertaining. And, it was about them, the students, and what they really had going on. But Jacob was just like, it's going too far, especially with the arguing. And so Ava pretty much was like, let them be, But she really wanted to know the tea. Talking about something, because I need the tea. Y'all know, Ava, she just wanted to know everything, be in everybody's business. But anyway, Jacob looking at Gregory like he waiting on Gregory to bag him up. And Gregory, on the other hand, is zoned out. He doesn't even know what's going on. It was just a whole mess. So Janine, she's checking out the reader's board. They got another board out on the wall. And it's just like showing where the classes are as it relates to the Read-A-Thon, like I guess who's the top class at the moment, where they are, whatever. And so she's accusing Melissa of cheating because her numbers have jumped tremendously, even though 3 of her strongest readers are out with the pink eye. So Melissa goes and she checks on the reader, her classroom's reading logs. So what they have to do essentially is their parents have to sign off on everything that they've read. So she discovers that Maya, which is one of her poor readers in her class, she discovers that she's been lying on her reading logs just so she could be Janine's class. And I'm pretty sure she was doing this because all she was hearing from Melissa is, I need y'all to do this. Whatever you're doing, read. I don't care what you're doing. Like, even one student asked, like, if we're in the shower, she would read. Like, yeah, like, read. She gonna tell the child to put it in a Ziploc bag and read. So I'm sure this is probably part of the reason why the little girl was lying on the reading log. So back with the podcast club, the 2 students that had signed up. Well, they go to Jacob and they're just like, hey, this isn't what we thought this was gonna be. This isn't what we signed up for. This isn't what we put out. Because remember, they had recorded the first show. And so the students, so Jacob tried to play dumb, like, what are you talking about? So one of the students ended up playing back the podcast. And so the recording has been chopped and screwed by Jacob, basically. He done deleted it. He done deleted some things. He didn't put it together like how he wanted to. And yeah, Jacob just done took it upon himself to chop and screw what they recorded during their first podcast or whatever. So the students like, yeah, no, this is not what we put out. This is not it. You're censoring us. And when they said that, oh my goodness, Jacob died, he damn near just had a heart attack. Like, censoring? Don't y'all say that ever. So the students are like, yeah, but you are. And, so Jacob's thing was like, he said he's trying to make the podcast more school appropriate. But the thing is, he made it very bland in doing that. Like, it's good to have parameters, but at the same time, if these are for the students, and it's supposedly is by the students, you got to put out contents that the students will like. You know what I'm saying? So then, he tried to pull Gregory in on it too, talking about, producer Gregory and I. Gregory was like, nah, this all you. So, yeah, at this point, of course, the students are upset, as you can guess, and they end up quitting the club. You know what I'm saying? Because, it just is not what they thought it would be. So then Gregory, he ends up quitting too, because he's just like, do we still get paid if there are no students? Y'all know Gregory didn't really want to do that. So Jacob was like, no. Gregory was pretty much like, deuces. He gets up and he leaves. Oh, goodness. Gregory was like, don't play with me. Don't play with me and my money. Anyway, over to Melissa's class. So Maya, the little girl that wasn't the greatest reader, so her parents are there and they meet with Melissa. So Melissa's like, well, I'm talking to your parents. Why don't you go over there and read some more? Go sit down over there and read some more. So Melissa tries to talk to them about Maya's reading. She's telling them there's no way that Maya read 25 books in one night. Right. And I was like, 25 books? God dog. Even if they were like some Dr. Seuss books, ain't no way, baby. So the parents are in denial, especially the mama. She was really the one doing all the talking. They were in denial. Oh, yes, she can, and she did, and da-da-da-da-da. And so Melissa is just trying to go on to tell them that, she's not as strong in reading as she is in other subjects. You know what I'm saying? And so Melissa suggests to them that they may want to have her tested, but the parents, of course, they don't like that. They didn't want to hear that. And they actually get upset and they end up leaving. They get up to leave. They grab Maya and they're at the door. Meanwhile, as her parents are taking her out the door, Maya sits up and talking about, I just read 4 more books, baby. Your parents were only sitting down talking with Melissa for only about 2 minutes. Baby, you did not read no 4 books in 2 minutes. Y'all, I was like, oh my goodness, she was so cute. So, oh goodness, y'all, my cheeks are hurting. I love this show that much. But anyway, Melissa class, they end up losing the Read-A-Thon, right? But she finds a good time to connect with Maya, which I really like, because she didn't give up on Maya, even though her parents didn't take the open door that she was trying to give them. So she went to Maya and she pulled her outside to the class, and she just kind of shared with Maya that, hey, it's okay if you don't like reading. You don't have to pretend. I also was not a good reader. And so she just kind of encourages her not to give up on reading and just to give, and then she ends up giving her some tips on how to make reading a little easier. And then she went on to give her this book that was given to her when she was about Maya's age that helped her how to read better. So I thought that was so sweet. I was like, oh, look at Melissa being all sweet. But you know what? I was just thinking, like, those connections with teachers like that, you don't ever forget those moments, and that could change the whole trajectory of the rest of her educational years, as far as in an educational institution, you know what I'm saying? Because she could have given up, and y'all know reading is gonna be foundational pretty much in any subject, even math, And so, yeah, I like when teachers don't mind going the extra step, because you just never know what that may mean. Like, I remember a pivotal moment for me like that, and I was in middle school, and I've just never forgotten that teacher and what she did for me. So, yeah. But anyway, Jacob ends up, we see him turning in the podcast equipment because, the kids, they quit. He looking all sad in the face. And so Ava ends up giving him some pretty decent advice. Y'all know what? Ava can play all darn day, but she really do sometimes be speaking facts. She be speaking truth, and she be really putting it out there. So she tells him, like, she gonna be shady as hell with it. So she tells him, oh, well, his podcast was boring, and it almost caused her to be in an accident and kill herself because she fell asleep while driving. But she does basically go on to tell him that he's pushing his narrative and not allowing the students to explore and have input on what they want. You know what I'm saying? So over to the break room. Janine, her class is won. And so she's y'all, Janine in there doing cartwheels. I said, I think she say she was the mini Simone Biles or something like that. Or girl stop. But anyway, so she glowed. She got the little championship bell because she won. And y'all, Melissa burst that bubble so quick, baby. Melissa says, you know what? I've been going over these rules, and the rules actually say the winner is determined by whoever reads the most in a classroom. And since technically I have second and third graders in my class, I can total them both together since they are all in the same classroom. Oh, because it was supposed to be like second graders against second graders, third graders against third graders, fourth, yada, yada, and so on and so forth. So, if she totaled all of her second graders and her third graders, well, then that made her win. She had the majority of books read. So she snatches the bell from Janine, and Janine looks so hurt. I'm like, Janine, babe, pick your face up off that floor. Pick it on up. So the episode ends with Jacob, Gregory, and the two students back at it with the podcast, and I was glad to see that. So Jacob, we see him allowing the students to take the lead, and Janine is there as their guest because she lost. And so they go straight for the juggler with her baby. One of the students said, my mom saw you and Mr. Eddie grinding all up on each other in the club. Y'all know that stumped her. That took her for a whole loop, baby. Janine started stuttering, talking about, we were just dancing. And the other student chimes in and said, but they said y'all left together. And Janine was like, no, I was outside talking to his friend Maurice. And then Gregory was like, what? Hold on. Then Gregory tried to get Jacob to shut down the podcast, talking about, I thought this wasn't that type of podcast. Thought we were steering away from that kind of stuff. I said, now you want Jacob to bag you up when before you wouldn't bag him up. And Jacob was like, you know what? No, actually, I want to hear more about this for journalistic reasons. So Gregory tries to sign off on the podcast, like end it, while the students were still like, we still waiting on the answer, Miss Teagues. We want to know. Oh, y'all, that was the end. That's how it ended. But it was good. This was another great episode, like I said when I started. What do y'all think? Did y'all like it? I already know you did. I already know you did. I think Gregory definitely did not like hearing that Janine was out there talking to his friend Maurice. Put a 1 in the chat if y'all thought they ruffled his feathers. I really do. Put a 2 in the chat if you think he was just over the whole conversation, period. And my vote would be for 1. That part right there definitely ruffled his feathers. He ain't like hearing it. But anyway, that's all I got, y'all. Be blessed. I'll pray for y'all. Y'all please pray for me. And we will what? Watch God change things. 2023. Peace out, y'all.